So you owe back taxes to the IRS or the state, and you're thinking of filing an offer in compromise to potentially settle your tax debt for less than you actually owe. You may have heard that the OIC process can take quite a while, and you're wondering exactly how long will it take for the IRS to either agree to your offer in compromise or reject the amount that you're offering. The OIC timeline, that's the topic of today's video on the other side of the break.
1877 Levy King, Levy, Levy King, 1877 Levy King, LevyKing.com.
What's up, guys? Corey Hankerson here from Legacy Tax and Financial Planning, and they call me the Levy King because I have literally helped hundreds of taxpayers with unfiled returns, back taxes, tax liens, and that's right, IRS wage levies. IRS took your check, call the Levy King. I'll get it back. 1877 Levy King, LevyKing.com. I'm also the author of End the Tax Nightmare, Insider Secrets to Beat the IRS and Reduce Your Tax Debt. My book, End the Tax Nightmare, has been a top seller on Amazon for years. You can buy it right now. Just go over to Amazon.com, pony up $19.99, and the book is yours. However, I'd like to give you a copy of my book absolutely free. Inside the book, I'm going to show you how to set up the payment plan that you want and not the one that the IRS wants. How to stop a wage garnishment or a levy without paying the tax in full. And even how you can potentially settle your tax liability for less than you actually owe. Just go over to my website, www.endthetaxnightmare.com, put in your name and email address, and I'll get a copy of the book out to you right away. Free of charge. You don't even have to pay for shipping. www.endthetaxnightmare.com, and I'll get a copy of the book over to you right away. Now, before we go any further, I want to ask you to please take a moment and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that like button and smash that notification bell so you'll be informed each and every time we drop a new video here on the channel. All right, guys, so let's dive right into today's content. Okay, so for those of you who are just at the beginning of your research on how to solve an IRS problem, I want to take a moment to define exactly what an offer in compromise is. This is straight from the IRS's website. An offer in compromise is a formal agreement between the taxpayer and the Internal Revenue Service where you settle the tax liability for less than you actually owe. So it's literally a contract between you and the IRS, where the IRS agrees to let you pay less than you actually owe, maybe even a lot less than you actually owe, and you agree to pay the amount that you settled for in a timely manner, usually, just a few months or maybe a couple of years. So you're going to pay it real quick and they're going to let you pay less. So that's the bargain that you make rather. But we all know that the wheels of government tend to move slowly. So the question here is exactly how long is it going to take for you to be able to reach that deal with the IRS? Exactly how long is the OIC timeline? Okay, so before we go into specifics, I'm going to tell you right now that the process generally takes in full to settle your debt. You're talking about somewhere from 9 months on the low end to a little more than a year, maybe a year and a half on the long end. If we include the process of actually paying the liability, you're probably talking about 2 or 3 years if we include that part. But let's go through the various steps, okay? So in my office, I view an offer in compromise as 6 separate steps, okay? Step 1 is preparation and planning. You're talking anywhere from 1 to 3 months for step 1. Step 2 is submission, which is generally about a month or so. Step 3 is OIC Specialist, which is 6 months plus. Step 4 is negotiation, which is generally going to be between 1 to 2 months. Step 5 is payment, where you're talking 5 to 24 months, depending upon the options that you select. And step 6 is what I call post-payment compliance, where that's another 5 years that's added on to the overall process. Okay, so let's dive right in and look at each of those steps one at a time and talk about what all they actually entail. Preparing your offer package can take a month or more depending upon your situation. whether you have access to all the required documents, and how quickly you provide them to us. There are two central documents that go with every offer package. The first is the Form 433, which is called the Collection Information Statement. The collection information statement is going to go over your income, your expenses, your assets, and your liabilities in very specific detail. They're going to get all in your business with the Form 433. The other form is the 656. The 656 is the actual offer, right? So on that form, you're going to detail the exact amount that you're offering the government to settle the debt. You're also going to detail how you intend to pay, whether you intend to pay in a lump sum or you want a payment plan that'll last 24 months to pay off that debt. Okay, so those are the two forms. The other thing that you're going to be required to provide is going to be documents substantiating the information that you put on those two forms. Okay, so if you say you make $5,000 a month, then you're going to need to provide pay stubs. You say you have $2,000 in the bank, you're going to need to provide bank statements. Okay, so those two things. The 433 and the 656 is the heart of the offer. The rest of it is really going to be the substantiating documents that you're going to be required to provide along with it. Okay. All right, so step 2 is what we call submission. Once we're pretty sure that you qualify for an offer and your offer package is complete, we will submit everything to the Internal Revenue Service via certified mail. Within 30 days, you're going to receive a letter from the IRS acknowledging the receipt of your offer and telling you that your offer is either processable or not processable. Many things could cause your offer to not be processable, such as using the wrong form or not paying the application fee or failing to provide the supporting documents. If the offer is not processable, they're going to send the whole package back to you and you get to start all over again from step 1. In my experience, this is where many taxpayers, this is where offers that the taxpayer submits themselves tend to fall apart. On the other hand, if your offer is deemed processable, that does not mean that they have agreed to accept the amount that you're offering. It simply just means that your paperwork is in good order and they are able to now send it forward up to an OIC specialist and move you on to step 3. Step 3 is the OIC Specialist. I really should call this step waiting because that's exactly what you're going to be doing right here. If your offer is deemed processable, it'll be sent up to an OIC Specialist. Or really, should I say, it'll be sent to a queue where you'll get to wait in line for an OIC Specialist to be assigned to your particular case. Now, once keep in mind that the OIC Specialist right now at the IRS are handling such a tremendous volume of cases, you can expect for this to take, quite a long time. 6 to 9 months is not unusual, but right now it's probably going to be a little bit longer. So I just want you to be aware that as we're filming this video right now in the fall of 2020, there's such a backlog with taxpayers losing their jobs and having their businesses suffer, decreased income or whatnot, that there's a backlog with offering compromises. So waiting for that specialist to be assigned is going to potentially take quite a long time, right? So you're looking at 3 to 9 months as not being unusual, but maybe a little bit more right now. Step 4 is negotiation. Eventually, your offer package is going to reach an OIC specialist. They'll begin to evaluate the actual merits of your offer, right? So that person is looking at, number 1, whether it's in the best interest of the government to compromise your tax liability. And number 2, whether the amount that you're actually offering is sufficient, right? So are you offering enough money and should they compromise with you in the first place? Those are the two things that the OIC specialist is really going to be looking at and focusing on when your offer lands on their desk. At this particular point in the process, you could expect this to take between a month to 2 months, assuming that everything goes smoothly, right? So if the OIC specialist agrees to your offer amount, then hey, you can breeze right through this particular step in the process in just a few weeks. But if they find some things in the package that causes concern, or they want to give a little pushback on some of the numbers that you've provided in the package, you could end up going back and forth with them, which could delay the process significantly. If you're really stuck at an impasse, you could potentially end up needing to file an appeal with the IRS appeals office, which again is going to drag this process out for a much longer period of time. But if all goes well at this particular step in the process, you're looking at just a month or two. Step 5 is what we call payment. All right. If once your offer is accepted, it's time to pay up. OK, so when you submitted the offer package on the form 656, you would have indicated whether or not you intend to pay in a lump sum or you need a deferred periodic payment in order to satisfy the amount that you intend to offer. OK, at the IRS, they consider a lump sum to be an amount that you're paying in 5 or fewer months. OK, so you would need to also submit the offer itself with the down payment of 20%, and then you're going to take 5 months or fewer to pay off the offer. On the other hand, if you need more time than that, you can select to pay using the deferred periodic payment option, where you're going to take up to 24 months to pay off the offer. So how long you take at step 5 is really going to depend on whether you chose lump sum or whether you chose to defer the payment for 24 months. So you're looking at anywhere from 5 to 24 months right there. The next step is technically not part of getting your offer accepted, but I include it here because it's such a long period of time, and it is one of the areas where I see a lot of offers that the client submitted on their own actually blow up and fall apart. And that's what we call post-payment compliance. Okay, so you got to understand that when you submit an offer and when the government accepts that offer, they are accepting it with 2 conditions. The first is that you will file all tax returns on time in the future. And the second condition is that you will not accumulate any additional tax debt, right? So those are the 2 things. What that basically means is that for the next 5 years, you got to file all your tax returns on time. And if you have any liability on those returns, you got to pay it. So you can't accumulate any additional debt, and the returns have to be filed. If you fail to do either one of those things for the next 5 years, the original amount that you owed before they accepted your offer, you will now owe that once again, right? And the IRS will file a new tax lien, and you go back into collections. Now, speaking of collections, if you owe back taxes, I want you to know that you don't have to fight the IRS alone, but you always want to know exactly what you qualify for, which IRS programs would be a good fit for you, and exactly how much would they accept in terms of an offer in compromise if you were to submit one. You see, no 2 cases are the same, and no 2 taxpayers have exactly the same circumstances. So how do you know if you're eligible and exactly how much you qualify for? Well, lucky for you, I've created a free tool. Just go over to my website, www.levyking.com. That's www.levyking.com. Enter your name, answer a few short questions, and we'll help you to determine exactly what you qualify for. What you say? Not an internet person? You don't like to do all this website stuff? No worries. Just pick up the phone and give us a call at 1-877-LEVY-KING. That number again is 1-877-LEVY-KING. Myself or my team will jump on the line with you and help you figure out exactly what you qualify for. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.